There's a voice in your head that is actively ruining your life. It's not pessimism, it's not anxiety, it's something way more specific and way more dangerous. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what it is, and more importantly, how to shut it up for good. Let me ask you something nobody's ever really asked you before. How many times have you told yourself, "I'll start tomorrow"? That's not a dig. I've said it too, a lot. And for a long time, I genuinely believed it was a willpower problem, that I needed more discipline, needed to wake up earlier, needed to find the right motivation. But here's the truth. You're not failing because you're weak. You're failing because you're using the wrong tool for the job. Think about it. When you avoid something important, what do you actually feel right before you avoid it? A discomfort, a vague resistance, like your body is saying, "Not right now." And so you give in. You grab your phone, you find a snack, you convince yourself there's something more urgent to handle first. That has a name. Psychologists call it dysfunctional emotional regulation, but I'm going to explain it in a way that actually sticks. Your brain is a bodyguard that doesn't know what to protect you from. It was wired over thousands of years to keep you away from pain. Physical danger, starvation, cold, those were real threats. But today, your brain runs that exact same software to shield you from sending a hard email, opening a spreadsheet, starting a new project. That voice that says "do it later" isn't laziness. It's your survival system running ancient code in a completely different world. Once you understand that, the whole fight changes. It's no longer willpower versus weakness. It's intelligence versus instinct. And there's a specific method for winning that fight without having to become a completely different person. I'll walk you through it in detail shortly. But first, there's something you need to understand that will completely change how you see time and progress.
You know what separates people who actually change from people stuck in the fresh start every Monday loop? It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not even hard work in the traditional sense. It's where they point their focus. Most people focus on the destination, the end result, lose 30 pounds, hit 6 figures, become fluent in a new language. And the problem with that isn't that the dream is too big, it's that the dream is too far away to motivate you today. Think about it. How many times have you mapped out something epic, felt genuinely fired up about it, and then 3 days later it was completely gone? That excitement evaporated because the goal lived in the future, and your brain lives in the present. Here's what people who produce consistent results figured out. They don't fall in love with goals, they fall in love with the system. An elite runner doesn't think, "I need to finish a marathon." They think, "I run every morning. That's who I am." It's not a goal, it's an identity. An identity doesn't need motivation, it just needs consistency. So how do you actually build that? You stop defining what you want to achieve, and you start defining who you're becoming. Instead of, "I want to be more disciplined," you ask yourself, what does a disciplined person do today? And then you do that. One day, then the next. Every action stops being an attempt to hit a target. It becomes proof of who you are. Every time you act in line with that identity, your brain logs it. This is what people like me do. The identity reinforces itself. The system becomes automatic. Think about someone in your life you genuinely admire. Someone who's consistent, who delivers, who seems to have it together. You probably look at them and think, "They just have something I don't." I'd bet you're wrong. I'd bet they just built a system solid enough that consistency became the path of least resistance. It's not strength, it's structure. And you can build the exact same thing. I'm going to show you exactly how. But first, and this matters, I need to tell you about the mistake that wrecks 90% of attempts before they even get off the ground. It's subtle, it sounds totally reasonable, and chances are you're making it right now.
The mistake is easy to name: hard to stop making. You're trying to change too many things at once. And the worst part? You do it with the best intentions. Because when motivation hits on a Sunday night, after a video that got to you, after a conversation that shook you up, it hits hard, and you plan big. Next week, up at 5 a.m., 1 hour of working out, 2 hours of focused work, off social media until noon, 30 pages a day. 3 days later, you're burnt out, behind, and more frustrated than when you started. Here's what neuroscience says about that. The brain resists behavioral change in proportion to how large the change is. Small change, small resistance. Massive change, the brain treats it like a survival threat and fires up every defense system it has. So paradoxically, the faster you try to change, the slower you actually change. The answer isn't smaller ambition, it's smarter strategy. You start with an action so small, your brain literally can't justify resisting it. Not work out every day, just put on your gym shoes. Not study for 2 hours, just open the material and read 1 paragraph. Not write a book, just 1 sentence a day. That sounds ridiculous? Good, that's exactly how it should feel. Because when the action is too small to seem meaningful, the brain doesn't push back. You do it, and once you've started, most people keep going, because the biggest barrier is always just beginning. This technique has a name. Researchers call them implementation intentions and behavioral minimums, but you can call it the trick for outsmarting your own inner saboteur. If this is clicking for you, and I think it is, consider sharing this video with someone you know needs to hear it, not as a favor, as a real gesture. Sometimes the right idea at the right moment changes the whole direction of someone's life.
All right, I'm going to lay out the whole system right now. Simple. No app, no subscription, no complicated setup. Step 1. Define an identity, not a goal. Instead of "I want to be productive," write this down. I am someone who keeps the promises I make to myself. That sentence goes on your mirror, your phone lock screen, your notebook. Somewhere you'll actually see it every day. Step 2. Set your non-negotiable minimum. For every area of your life you want to change, health, work, learning, define an action so small it would be embarrassing not to do it. Not the ideal, the floor, the lowest bar you can possibly imagine. That's your anchor. Examples: 5 minutes of movement, 1 page read, 1 task crossed off the list. Step 3. Build your evidence trail. Grab any notebook. Every day you hit your minimum, mark an X. The goal isn't perfection, it's keeping the chain unbroken for as long as possible. When it breaks, and it will, the only goal is to get back on track the next day, not to make up for it. That part matters. No compensation. Missing 1 day doesn't mean doing double the next. It means starting fresh, like normal. Because trying to compensate is exactly what turns a small slip into a full collapse. Step 4. Expand only when the minimum becomes automatic, not before. When you notice you're hitting your minimum without thinking about it, no friction, no deliberation, no decision to make, that's when you raise the bar. A little, not a lot, a little. That's how behaviors become identity, not through force, through repetition so consistent the brain stops questioning it. You know what the most beautiful part of all this is? You won't wake up one day and be a different person. You'll wake up one day and realize you already are. And you'll look back at that trail of X's in that notebook and understand that every single one of them was a small vote for the kind of person you decided to become. It wasn't willpower, it was a system, it was structure, it was one day after another. But there's one last piece most people completely overlook, and without it, even the best system falls apart when things get genuinely hard. Stay with me for 1 more minute.
There's something I learned the hard way. A system without a why is just a shell. You can have the notebook, the X's, the non-negotiable minimum, the clearly defined identity, and still stop.
Because on the really hard days, when you're exhausted, when something went sideways, when life just isn't cooperating, what keeps you moving isn't structure, it's meaning. And here's the question that changes everything. Why does this actually matter to you? Not the polished version, not the one you'd put on LinkedIn, the real one. The one you'd feel in your gut if you knew you were going to die without having lived the way you knew you were capable of living. Maybe it's freedom. Maybe it's proving something to yourself. Maybe it's giving your family a different kind of life. Maybe it's simply not wasting what you know you're capable of. Write that down. Don't keep it in your head. Write it, one sentence, and put it right next to your non-negotiable minimum. Because on the days the system feels pointless, that sentence is going to be the only thread holding you together. Everyone who's built something consistent has that thread. You just don't see it because they don't talk about it much. But it's there. And for you to work, it needs to be there too. If you want to keep doing this work, understanding how your brain actually functions and using that to change for real, subscribe to the channel. I put out content every week on exactly this, how the mind works and how to use that knowledge to actually move your life forward. No magic formulas here, just what works.
Let me leave you with something I wish someone had told me years ago. You won't change when you finally feel ready enough. You'll change when you build an environment where not changing starts to feel wrong. The problem was never you, it was the absence of structure. And structure gets built, one brick at a time, one X per day, one small action that's proof of who you're becoming. Start today, not tomorrow, not Monday, not after the trip, not once things calm down. Today, with the smallest step possible, with your non-negotiable minimum, with a sentence that reminds you why it matters. And a year from now, when you look back, you'll understand that the turning point wasn't some epic moment. It was an ordinary day when you decided to do one small thing, even when you didn't feel like it. If this video planted something in you, an idea, a shift in perspective, a spark, hit the like button. Not because the numbers matter, because it's your way of saying this work is worth continuing. And honestly, that means everything to me. In the next video, I'm going into the dark side of all this. What happens when your system is actually working, but you still self-sabotage at the last second? Why that happens, and exactly what to do about it. I'll see you there.